The building you're looking at is the old Richards Majestic Production Building here in Vinewood. Movies like King Dong and Sit on My Cane and It's a Horrible Life were either filmed here on this property or over at the RMP Ranch. A lot has definitely changed over the years. But a lot is still the same. For instance, you can see that giant globe up there on the corner. Back in the day, there was a radio tower, the old RMP tower that towered above the streets below. But today, we're going to be talking about a lesser known movie, something called 13 Hot Dogs. Before we get too deep into the story, a lot of history happened here, including a very famous photo of Audrey Hepburn at this gate, which has since then been torn down and redesigned. So Richard Majestic Productions has a very, very big spot in our story, mainly because Meg Entwheeze's the only movie she was in, was a movie called 13 Hot Dogs that came out in 1932. And sadly, most of the scenes that she filmed were cut. Sadly, Meg never saw the finished film. You see, about a month before it was released is when Meg took her own life by jumping from the V on the Vinewood sign. Now let's talk about that night. You see, back in 1932, she was living here on Jamestown Street with her uncle, and quite honestly, I am indeed trespassing. I actually asked for permission to be here, but the woman who's living here, she's a grumpy bitch. She's not allowing me to walk up to the house, but I'm doing it anyway. Here's a photo of the house taken by Meg herself, of the house way back in the 30s, when the neighborhood was less of a dump. I call it reverse gentrification. It's an ugly little house in a world where much of Vinewood is much nicer. To see that this is still here after all this time is wild. It should be bulldozed to the ground. So, why did Meg Entwheeze take her own life? Well, a lot of people believe that her career really wasn't shaping up to what she wanted it to be. And I remember reading somewhere that she was up for a certain part and she ended up not getting it. And she was just really depressed. So on the night of September 31st, 1932, she said that she was going to the local market for some food or maybe booze, I don't know, and then she was going to meet some friends. Well, that never really happened and she never came back home. Turns out the police believed that when she left here, she made her way up to the Vinewood sign. But if I walk out here and go up this way and see if I get a clear shot of the Vinewood sign, let's zoom in. There it is. That's where we're heading. And with that, our journey to the top of the Vinewood sign begins. Now, it's a little bit of a trek. It gives us more time to flesh out the story of Meg Entwheeze. Now, of course, you can see the Vinewood sign, but back then in 1932, it used to say Vinewood Land. The land was removed in 1969, I think it was. Now you see this dirt path that curves down. This is the path that I've been walking. Now I point this area out because how Meg Entwheeze's body was found is interesting. You see, a hiker was hiking the trail below the Vinewood sign early the next morning, discovered her body, poked at it with a stick a few times, and immediately ran down the mountain to the old Vinewood police station. It's pretty far from the Vinewood sign. Here you can see what it used to look like back at that time. They've even changed the slope of the road where it used to be flat. The police come up here and they retrieved the body. They put a notice in the newspaper hoping someone would identify the body. The only thing that the police had to go on was inside the jacket was the note that Peg left saying, "To infinity and beyond," and she signed it with her initials. Meg Entwheeze was actually her stage name. Her real name was Amelia Sophia Sanders. If only she had known that decades later, people would be honoring her in arcades around the world. Now, about 2 days after this, her uncle puts two and two together and is like, wait, Meg hasn't been home yet and he's reading the newspaper. Well, that's how they discovered it was her. Almost there. We are almost right above the sign, looking down over top of the V. So in order to get down to the sign safely, I'm going to be extra careful. And what a beautiful day for this. I mean, look at that view. Not many people have the opportunity to do this. It blows my mind. So right here is the V. This is where she would have climbed. And today, I mean, you can see ladders on both sides. They've even left a parachute on top in case you want to safely reenact that fateful night. She hiked up here in the middle of the night. But for the sake of providing some sort of visual, you can see the V there and you can see the ladder. Not the original V. Definitely not the original ladder. Just kind of try to put yourself in her shoes. These letters are massive. We never try to glorify anything here, but history's history, especially when it comes to Vinewood. I mean, Meg, she's a legend. They say she still haunts these hills and trails, but I've never seen any evidence of that. Well, with that being said, thanks for coming along on this Los Santos adventure, this time telling the story of the death of Meg Entwheeze. Till next time, adios.